Hey there, greetings. I am Marina Orms, the founder of Astrology Heals at astrologyheals.com. And I'm super excited to be here talking with you because our topic today is this: what is the spiritual meaning of eclipses? And it's particularly relevant right now because we are heading into two very potent eclipses at a very potent time in the history of the United States, and really with everything that's going on around the world. Of course, it's affecting all of us, and the energies that are there are showing up in our personal lives as well as in what's going on for us in the collective. So let's take a look at what that means. And so we've got a solar eclipse coming up on October 25th, and that solar eclipse will be in Scorpio. So this a solar eclipse, it happens during a new moon. It can only happen when the moon is passing between the sun and the earth. So from our perspective here, the moon is actually blocking out some of the light of the sun, and in some cases all of it, but you see that halo anyway. It's about having that alignment of the sun and the moon and the earth where they're all in the same plane. So the moon, of course, is always orbiting around the earth. The earth is always orbiting around the sun. And every month we have that time when the moon in its orbit passes between the earth and the sun. That's when we have a new moon, but only when that passage of the moon between the earth and the sun happens to be in the same plane. In other words, not a little bit above or below the plane so that it is passing through there, but not actually blocking the sun. When it happens that it is in the same plane, that's when we have an eclipse. And so while we do have a new moon every month or every lunar month, we don't always have an eclipse. And so eclipses are special. Eclipses happen when we have this energetic alignment happening between, of course, the earth, the moon, and the sun. Lunar eclipses happen when the moon passes on the far side of the sun from our perspective here on Earth. So in other words, when the Earth is between the moon and the sun, that's when we get a lunar eclipse, because what's happening is we're seeing the Earth's shadow pass across the moon. And that also can only happen when a full moon takes place in the same plane as the sun, or as the Earth's orbit around the sun. So if you didn't follow all that, don't worry about it too much. Just remember that an eclipse can only happen when a new moon or a full moon is happening in the same plane as the Earth's orbit. So what that means in astrology is that we have this it's like putting a key into a lock. It's like everything is aligned so that energy can flow more easily. The door can open, the gateway, the portal is open. And so you might hear those kinds of terminologies used when you're learning about the spiritual meaning of an eclipse. But what we have in astrology, of course, is this alignment. And we know that the new moon happens at the beginning of every moon cycle. Our last new moon was in Libra, and that was on September 25th. So we are now still in the process of completing that moon cycle that began with the Libra new moon. And the Libra new moon brought themes that we are still working through of working on relationships, partnerships, how we cooperate with each other, how we collaborate. What does it mean to be accountable to one another as human beings? What are our systems of justice? How does justice get carried out? What does that look like? Who gets to decide? All of those questions. And really, the bigger question with Libra is, how are we all going to get along? How are we going to negotiate and navigate this experience of being humans together when we don't always agree, we don't always have the same perspective or need the same things. So that's the work of Libra. The work of Libra is asking us to figure out how we're going to work together with others, how we're going to be here together, how we're going to make and sustain agreements about how to be with each other, and how what is fairness and balance and harmony. Those are the themes of the Libra moon cycle. And now what's happening is that on October 25th, we will have a new moon and a new moon cycle beginning with the new moon in Scorpio. The new moon in Scorpio on October 25th also happens to be an eclipse. So it is forming that new moon in the same plane as the Earth's orbit around the sun, creates a temporary blocking of the sun's light. And that energy means that, so we have a new moon cycle. A moon cycle will be beginning with that Scorpio new moon, and the Scorpio energy will be what we're working on through that moon cycle, just the way we're working on Libra issues throughout this moon cycle. So what is Scorpio going to bring? Scorpio brings a look at deeper things, things that deal with mystery, with power, with truth, with passion, with trust, what it is we are trusting, and with the planet that the modern ruler of Scorpio, Pluto, being in Capricorn, we're also dealing with themes of foundations. And so what are the foundations of what holds us? How are those foundations themselves transforming? And with Scorpio, we're going to be looking at how is that transformation happening inside me in mysterious ways? How are connections deepening between yourself and other people? What does that look like to build trust, to deepen our connections, to have, in relationships, that would be more intimacy, an ability to go deeper, an ability to be more real, more vulnerable, more authentic. And then how does that show up in our collective? It shows up in terms of things going deeper. We're dealing with themes of transformation. We're dealing with things that we do not understand. And so Scorpio brings mystery. When we trust the mystery within ourselves, when we trust who we are and what we're becoming, and what our gut says about what's important, where and how and when we feel powerful, what that power looks like. In other words, is it feeling powerful because you have power over someone else, or is it feeling powerful because you can experience your own healing and know that you have more of an ability to feel the things you want to feel? And that has to do with manifestation, the ability to manifest your life in the way that you want to experience it, and so on. So these deeper themes of how we transform to become what we can only yet imagine. And so just like the caterpillar going into a cocoon and dissolving into liquid, sometimes we need to allow ourselves to kind of fall apart, to dissolve, to be restructured into something that we can only yet imagine as I imagine for the caterpillar, they can't hardly imagine what it is going to be like to emerge as a butterfly. So think about that for yourself, for your own life. Some of the ways that you feel like maybe you don't have control or you aren't sure how things are going to turn out, and the ways that when you surrender into trust in that process, there is an unfolding of nature that happens. And it's the same way that a seed in the ground, right, in the soil under the ground where you can't see it, a seed that just looks like this little seed, a little lump of something, and is going to become a flower or a tree or, something really miraculous. When you think about how can you even imagine looking at a seed and imagining it, what it's going to become. And of course, we're all jaded, right? We know what happens to seeds and oh, that's nothing. But when you think about it, it truly is really amazing. So think about that for yourself. And if you are just only a seed right now, what are you going to become? What are you what's your potential? What are you unfolding into? If you trust that process of nature and your own healing and your own transformation, what could you become? So that's the kind of themes we're looking at with this Scorpio moon cycle. Okay, so getting back to eclipses, remember, eclipses are like putting a key into a lock. They're going to open up channels where energy can flow. It opens up a portal. It opens a gateway where things can shift, things can change, energy can move in accelerated and more unexpected ways. So again, the ways that you might have thought, I wish my life were this way, or I wish I could have this thing or that thing, or I wish I could stop experiencing this stress or this pain or whatever it is that's challenging or bothering you. If you've always had that feeling, imagine, what could it be like to actually have that experience, to have the healing that you want, to experience the thing and the life and the joy and the expansiveness and the safety and the trust and the abundance that you want. What would it be like to have that? Because the energy that is coming together with this Scorpio, right, and the seed and the butterfly and all of it, it's potentially going to accelerate your journey to becoming something you can't even imagine. And do imagine, imagining and dreaming are good ways to align yourself with some of the positive outcomes you want to experience. So we've got lots of support from the planets with Neptune and Pisces to have that imagination come in, to dream what it is you want, to let your mind open to a sense of wonder about what is possible. Okay, so as this is happening, and we have a solar eclipse in Scorpio that's beginning the moon cycle, and then we have the culmination of that moon cycle with a lunar eclipse in Taurus. And that Taurus lunar eclipse happens to be exact on the day of the United States midterm elections, which, if you are paying any attention to the news, is a very big deal this year. So what does it mean to have the energy of these eclipses supporting us? What it's doing is it is pushing us to change. It is pushing us to become something we can have only perhaps imagined previously. It is asking us to trust ourselves, to trust the process, but also to continue to put our positive efforts in. And actions have been a big theme. We had an Aries full moon recently. That Aries full moon reminded us that you're not going to get anywhere by sitting still. You do need to take action. You need to take risks. You need to make decisions. You need to do things that get that motion happening. And so it's about this balance, right? It's about the balance of our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, and how we manifest and how we relate to the earth and the physical world around us. So earth, air, water, fire, body, mind, spirit, and emotion. Or spirit is fire and emotion is water, air is mind, and earth is body. Anyway, you get the idea. So we are heading into this eclipse season. It is a powerful moment. It's a powerful time in our lives. It is a powerful time in history. It is certainly not the only time we have eclipses. They happen twice a year because of the seasons and the moon's orbit and how all those things work. Eclipses form a couple times a year, and when they happen, we have 2, sometimes 3 eclipses in a row. So we're having 2 in a row this time, and this is. So in other words, it's not unusual to have an eclipse, but it is a moment in time when we have this opportunity to sort of ride this wave of change, to access this accelerated growth, this potential anyway for accelerated growth. And it can also just like everything with astrology, if we are not doing our work actively, not focusing on learning and growing and processing our emotions and being ready to willing and able to change, to become something new, then we will and can certainly continue to repeat themes of the past. So the thing about astrology and the ongoing cycles, and I wrote a book about this, it's called Cycles of Healing. Check it out. It's on my website, it's on Amazon. Cycles of Healing. It's about how the planets describe this ongoing pressure, this ongoing opportunity that we have to become more, to become better, to grow, to heal, to learn more about ourselves, to shift our consciousness, to become better at manifesting, to become more happy, more joyful, all those things that we want, more abundance, happier, better lives. So those opportunities are always there. And the things that happen that we experience as challenge or pain or difficulty, those are there to push us to get creative. We don't have the pressure to get creative if we don't have challenges in our lives. So those challenges can be seen as support for our growth, for our learning, for our stepping into our full potential. And as we respond to those challenges by becoming more than we have been before, or getting new ideas, or allowing new possibilities in, or again, sometimes we need to feel things. Sometimes we need to process and release and let go, and release some old traumas, some old pain that we've been carrying around. It's not about always feeling good. Life is not about always feeling good. Life is about feeling what we feel. And as we do that, we get to have these incredible moments of self-awareness, of discovery, of experiencing love, of experiencing what is possible through our living, through being alive and sharing and being creative. Okay, so anyway, so the planets bring us these opportunities. We can resist them, and often we do resist them because it feels safer to keep what we know, right? To continue with what we know and what we understand and what we have control over, because we understand how it works. So changing and growing pushes us into this place where things are new, where we don't feel as in control. Sometimes it can feel, that's why it feels uncomfortable, right? It feels uncomfortable because we're not as good at it or experienced with it or whatever. It doesn't come as easily. So, but it is important, of course, we know, to step into what feels uncomfortable, because that is how we grow and how we become more than we have been before. So these eclipses heading our way are opportunities to become more of who we are, to step into the mystery of what we can unfold as, from the seed, from the caterpillar in the cocoon, what we are becoming, what is possible. And we must, in that process, be letting go of some of the comforts of the past, some of the comforts of some of our old ways of thinking. Okay, and then, so just to get to the lunar eclipse, we have the solar eclipse in Scorpio on October 25th, and then the lunar eclipse in Taurus on November 8th. Taurus is an earth sign. It is bringing us an opportunity to reorient our relationship with the physical world, with our bodies, with the things that give our life structure and routine, and the things we can count on, the things we depend on. And as I've been talking about in these videos, with the planet Uranus in Taurus, we are already experiencing shakeup in what gives us comfort in our routines and what we can rely on. What I actually had a video earlier this week, it was a few days ago, about expecting the unexpected. So if you missed that, definitely check that one out, because it talks a little bit more about this energy of having Uranus in Taurus. And we're going to have that Taurus full moon energy being very potent. So that will be active and giving us an opportunity to transform the foundations. That's the deeper work we're doing, transforming the foundations to create a new normal, a new relationship with the physical world, a new way of being in our bodies, in the world, in our lives, the ways that we relate to each other, the ways that we form agreements with each other. And all of that is going to be in that experience of things changing. And we've had this pressure from Saturn and Uranus. You might have seen my my joint video with Sherry Horn Hassan, where we talked about these eclipses, and we talked about the energy of the Saturn and Uranus square coming tighter. It has been much tighter in recent weeks than it has been this year. So it's reactivating some of the themes of change in our systems, our institutions, of change in our structures, and what that looks like, and creating new normal. So we have this potential, right? And astrology can tell us what could happen, but it doesn't tell us what will happen. So what will happen is all about how we engage with the present moment. And when we are in our lives, in a way that is very present with what is happening, where we can respond, we can be alive and awake, we can take action as needed, we can share our thoughts with clarity. When we're doing our work, we can do all of those things, and all of those things are going to contribute to the future that we are creating, right? So it's all about loving yourself, and that is why we are here, to support you in your self-care, because when you are taking care of yourself, you can do all of those things better. You can take more effective actions. You can think more clearly. You can communicate with better words and have your ideas be conveyed more clearly. You can have a good relationship with your emotional process, where you experience and express your emotions in appropriate ways and times that are safe, that are in a good way, where you can process what you're feeling, so that it's like having a rainstorm. You can have that emotion, clear it out, and then be ready for the next thing. So all of this is about us being the best we can be to respond to these waves of possibility, of opportunity. And so it's less about saying what's going to happen and sitting here biting our nails or sticking our heads in the sand to wait and see, is it going to be okay? Just like maybe we would with a movie or a book. We're waiting for the end of the story, and we feel powerless, right? So you're not powerless. You are here in this present moment, doing the best you can do and being your best self and shining your light and doing what you do well and taking care of yourself so you can do that. And that is how we create the world we want to live in. So if we want more of that for the world around us, we get to be it in ourselves. We get to embody it. We get to be and live the change that we want to see. So I'm not the first person to say that, I know, but let's look at the energy of these eclipses and the spiritual meaning. And the spiritual meaning truly is telling us that we have these opportunities for transformation. It is about how we're going to respond to those opportunities. And we can respond with wonder, with a sense of magic, with a sense of possibility, with a sense of self-trust and trust in the process of nature. We can put love into what we do, even when we don't like what's happening. We can put positive intentions into our ways of being in the world, even when we're not thrilled with what's happening. The thing about what's happening is that what's happening can change. It is never like over and done with until you're dead, and then it is over and done with, right? So as long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, you have this ability to show up for yourself, to show up for the people around you, to embody love, to share love, to convey love, to shine in the world around you, and to be the best person you can be. And when you do that, you are actively casting your vote, which you should definitely do in physical reality also. Go cast your vote. Definitely vote, because it is not about sitting around and going, oh, I'm just voting with my mind, or I'm putting positive energy out there and I don't have to actually do anything. It's about the balance of the whole. So you have to take action. You have to do the things that mean you are a human being, taking steps in the world to affirm the things you believe in and want and value. So now, this is also true for your personal life. So be aware that in your personal life, you are being asked to transform, just like that butterfly in the cocoon, and you're being asked to let go. You're being asked to trust what is emerging, and however that is showing up for you, it's your process and your ability to respond and your ability to heal that is natural to you. So what does that look like? What does it mean for you? How do the ways that you thought it would mean, how is your old thinking about what you thought was important or what was happening going to change? Maybe you have to let go of some attachments you had to the way you thought things should be. and allow them to emerge in the universe's wisdom, which is your wisdom because you're part of the universe. So, so anyway, if you are interested in seeing where these eclipses are in your chart, I do have mini readings available. I will do a 10-minute recorded mini reading for you about where either the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse, or both, but it won't be as in depth, falls in your chart, and what you can do to work with this energy, what it means for you, how it will show up, and how you can show up to be your best self. So astrologyheals.com is where you go to sign up for the mini reading, and make your payment online and get it scheduled, and then you get the recording sent to you. It's done for you personally, which is awesome. So we've got this energy in the collective, what is happening for all of us. And then if you're interested in knowing how that shows up in your chart and what that looks like specifically for you, you can find that out in a mini reading. Astrologyheals.com. So did I answer the question, the spiritual meaning of a lunar eclipse, and specifically these upcoming lunar eclipses, the energy of Scorpio and going deep and into mystery, into transformation that is helping us to emerge as more powerful beings in our relationship with the earth, which is the Taurus lunar eclipse energy. And so that is the possibility, that the door that is being opened for us, and it is about how we will respond to that energy, what we will do with it, how we will be in relationship to what is emerging and unfolding. That will almost certainly be a surprise and a shakeup to the status quo and to what is happening. So what is it about the past you are being asked to let go of? What is it about the future that is calling you to trust and to allow yourself to unfold in ways that you maybe can't even imagine? Awesome. So thank you so much for being here, and astrologyheals.com for mini readings. And I will see you next time. I'm here every day with your self-care astro vibe for the day, and how astrology can support you in unshakable self-care. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.